In section 8.3, we look at simple interest. Interest is the dollar amount that we get paid for lending or investing money, or that we pay for borrowing money. When we deposit money in a savings institution, the institution pays us interest for its use. When we borrow money, interest is the price we pay for the privilege of using the money until we repay it. The amount of money that we deposit or borrow is called the principal. The amount of interest depends on the principal, the interest rate, which is given as a percent and varies from bank to bank, and the length of time for which the money is deposited. Simple interest involves interest calculated only on the principal. So to calculate simple interest, we just take the principal times the rate times the time, or I is equal to PRT. The rate R is expressed as a decimal when calculating simple interest. So example 1, we deposit $2,000 in a savings account at a hometown bank, which has a rate of 6%. Find the interest at the end of the first year. So let's go ahead and figure out what each letter is going to be. Our P, which is our principal, is the amount of money we deposited. $2,000. My rate is the interest rate, which is 6%, or in decimal form, this is 0.06, and our time is 1 year. And so my interest is equal to our principal, which is $2,000, times the rate of 0.06 times the year, which is 1. And this is going to give me an interest of $120. So you earned $120 for free just by having the $2,000 into the savings account. Let's look at another one. A student took out a simple interest loan for $1,800 for 2 years at a rate of 8% to purchase a used car. What is the interest on the loan? So my principal is how much the student took out for the loan, which is $1,800. It was at an 8% rate, or 0.08, and my time is 2 years. So the interest on the loan is $1,800 times 0.08 times 2, which is $288. Simple interest is used for many short-term loans, including automobile and consumer loans. Imagine that a short-term loan is taken for 125 days. The time of the loan is 125 divided by 365 because there are 365 days in a year. However, before the modern use of calculators and computers, the banker's rule allowed financial institutions to use 360 in the denominator of such a fraction because this simplified the interest calculation. The denominator of 360 benefits the bank by resulting in a greater period of time for the loan and consequently more interest. The future value A of P dollars at simple interest rate R for T years is given by A equals P times 1 plus RT. P is also known as the loan's present value. A loan of $1,060 has been made at 6.5% interest for 3 months. Find the loan's future value. So my P is $1,060. My rate is 6.5% or 0.065. And the time is a little tricky. It's 3 months. So we're going to use the same idea as the days that was talked about earlier. Since there are 12 months total, we're only using 3 of them. That means we're looking at 0.25. So using our formula, A equals, we have 1,060 times 1 plus my rate, which is 0.065, times the time. I'm going to use the decimal to make things a little bit easier to calculate. And so we want to make sure we follow order of operations. The first thing that we need to simplify is the multiplication inside our parentheses. So we have our 1,060 times 1 plus 0.065 times 0.25 is going to give me 0.01625. Now that we've simplified that, we just want to do one more simplification inside our parentheses, and that's adding the 1 and the decimal we just found together. So we have 1,060 times, inside we have 1.01625. And so when I multiply this out, I end up with $1,077.23. And so that would be the loan's future value. Let's go ahead and look at a similar one. Suppose you spend $4 each day, 5 days per week on Starbucks. How much do you spend on this item in a year? So let's just think about that. We spend $4 in 1 day on Starbucks, but we do this for 5 days per week. And so we're going to multiply that by our 5 days in 1 week to figure out how much I spend per week. And so my days are going to cancel. And when I multiply 4 times 5, on the top I end up with $20 per week. But I want to know how much I spend in a year. And so because there are 52 weeks in 1 year, we can figure this out by multiplying 52 weeks over 1 year with our $20 in 1 week. And so again, the weeks are going to go ahead and cancel each other out. So the only units left are the money and the year. So multiplying on the top, we have 20 times 52, which is going to give me $1,040 in 1 year. Or we can write this as $1,040 in a year. If you invested your yearly spending on Starbucks in a savings account with a rate of 5%, how much would you have after 1 year? So this time they're saying if we set our principal or the present value, to be the amount I spend on Starbucks, which is our $1,040. Our interest rate would be the 5%, or we would write 0.05, and T would be 1 year. So let's go ahead and plug this into our formula. A equals P times 1 plus RT. We have our $1,040 times 1 plus 0.05 times 1. Making sure we follow the order of operations, we want to go ahead and multiply our 0.05 times 1. And so we end up with 0.05. And then again, we want to simplify inside the parentheses just a little bit more. We get 1,040 times 1.05. And so when I multiply this out, I end up with $1,092. So that's how much the account would be worth if I took my yearly spending and invested it at a savings account with a rate of 5%. The formula for future value A equals P times 1 plus RT has 4 variables. If we are given values for any 3 of these variables, we can always solve for the 4th. So for example number 5, you borrow $2,500 from a friend and promise to pay back $2,655 in 6 months. What simple interest will you pay? So to figure out the letter that you're missing, it's always easiest to set each letter equal to its value. So our P in this case is the original amount of the loan, which is $2,500. The amount you're going to pay back is the future value of the loan, and that's A. So A in this case is $2,655. Our time is 6 months. Now remember, we have to put this out of the total amount of months, which is 12. So we have 6 over 12, and I'm just going to use a decimal, which is 0.50. And so what I'm missing is the R, the simple interest rate. So plugging in this into our formula, we have A equals P times 1 plus RT. My A is 2,655. My P is 2,500 times 1 plus R times 0.50. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get R by itself. And so I'm going to divide both sides by $2,500. So on the right hand side, the $2,500 is going to cancel. And on the left, we now have 1.062 equals 1 plus 0.50 R. We're solving for R, so I am going to subtract 1 from both sides. And so on the right, it's going to end up canceling. And we end up with 0.062 equals 0.50 R. And then the last step is to divide both sides by 0.5. So the right hand side, it cancels, and we're going to get R all by itself. And so we get R equals 0.124. And converting this to a percentage, we are just going to move our decimal to the right 2 spots, which gives me 12.4%. And let's go ahead and try one last one. How much should you put in an investment paying a simple interest rate of 8% if you need $4,000 in 6 months? So we know the future value, or A, is $4,000. That's what I need to have in 6 months. So my time is again our 6 over 12, which is 0.50. Our rate is 8%, or 0.08. And so what I'm looking for is the P. What do I need to put now so that I'll have my 4,000 in 6 months? So plugging into our formula, our A is $4,000 equals P times 1 plus R, which is 0.08, times T, or 0.50. So let's go ahead and simplify what we can. Let's go ahead and multiply inside our parentheses. We have 1 plus 0.08 times 0.5 is 0.04. And so again, we can simplify a little bit more inside the parentheses. We have 1.04. And so the goal is to get P by itself. So now we can divide both sides by 1.04. And so on the right hand side, it's going to cancel. We are going to get P by itself, and 4,000 divided by 1.04 gives me $3,846.15. So I should be putting in $3,846.15 into my account today so that I get the $4,000 in 6 months.